P-Diddy, convicted sex offender and woman beater. All around piece of shit. Had a knife put to his throat. Just weeks prior, he had his lawyer tell the judge that he had almost been stabbed. Please transfer me to New Jersey where I'm safe and all the other chomos and sex offenders are at. That was denied. Well, it's been verified that a relationship that he's having with another inmate, whether they're lovers and friends, who knows, might be over honey buns and ramen noodles, or maybe, bad boys. After he made that statement through his lawyer, somehow, some way, an inmate was able to get into his cell through his friend, which is all being confirmed by this guy. Remember him? Charlucci Finney. Now, let's get into it. MDC Brooklyn. It's a federal high-rise complex that combines open bay dorms with tiered one-man and two-man cells. Within one secure pod sits the protective custody PC tier, an upper level of single cells reserved for inmates who cannot mix safely with general population. As in many prisons, directly below is the open bay dorm, an area where inmates, workers, porters circulate for cleaning, food services, and delivery. Usually medium to below custody, not facing 1,001 years, not sex offenders, not targets. But just like in many other prisons, they're right next to where the chomos, the PCs, the rats, the snakes are all at. That's why P. Diddy dry snitched to his lawyer saying, they're gonna sexually assault me, I'm being threatened. Yeah, because down there, they yell to all them dudes in PC, the chomos, the rapists, the pedophiles, the woman beaters. Yeah, this dude who football kicked a woman on the ground. But it turns out, it was deeper than just threats. Inmates on lower levels reportedly hurled verbal abuse and sexual threats towards Combs. Sound familiar? Like Koberger, right? Officers intercepted at least one inmate carrying a sharpened weapon months prior, before the October event, where an inmate allegedly tried to stab him. Maybe it was a show with force, whatever it may be, and an officer stopped him. Internally, though, staff discussed the possibility that Combs is being targeted for extortion, whether it's commissary or favors. During his sentencing, attorney Brian Steele, the veteran defense attorney, told the court that Combs is not safe. He described the event where he was being taunted and even when an inmate threatened him with a knife. Attorney Brian Steele, the veteran defense attorney, at his sentencing, he basically dry snitched. Diddy told him to say, hey, look, dude tried to stab me. Officers interfered. I'm too scared to eat. I'm eating bags of potato chips, all that bullshit in the other video I made. They're saying that they're gonna touch me and hurt me and all that shit, and I need to transfer to this specific prison. Now, by doing that, you're dry snitching through your attorney. You're scared to tell the officers because maybe whatever's really going on will get out, or maybe you're being extorted by everybody in there and you know there's nowhere to turn. At first, I thought maybe this was a play for him to get to one of these nasty, just no good prisons and try to go the R. Kelly route. But no, it turns out it's deeper than that. His friend confirmed it. Charlucci Finney, Diddy's longtime friend, the guy that wore the free puff shirt, stated publicly that Diddy woke up with a knife to his throat inside of his cell at MDC Brooklyn. Finney described the attack as likely intimidation, not necessarily an attempt to kill. He would go on to say it would only take seconds to cut his throat. It was probably a way to say, next time, you won't be so lucky. Everything is intimidation. Now, the reason why people go through their friends and lawyers is for two reasons. One, they're scared of the officers, they're scared of the truth getting out. But also, think about how different it is when an inmate writes to an officer. Nothing's gonna get done. You're making the job harder. They might be working for whatever organization is doing it. You might have some weird shit going on. So you reach out to your lawyer. Well, guess what? The inmates found out, but it got publicity, but you didn't get transferred. So now you're in a real bad situation. What you didn't want to get out, got out. Turns out, through correctional sources that described a more intricate scenario, they say investigators already suspected that Combs was being extorted inside MDC. The inmates learned that the word of the extortion plot had reached the outside world. One inmate that Combs had formed a personal, possible sexual or close friendly relationship with gained access to his protective custody cell. That inmate, a porter, isn't that wild? The movement privileges between tiers became the access point On the night of the incident, he reportedly approached Combs' single-man cell under the routine pretext. While the cell door was briefly unsecured for cleaning or service, 2 other inmates slipped inside. Inside the cell, one intruder allegedly pressed a homemade blade to Combs' throat and issued a simple demand. He would not be leaving MDC Brooklyn until a certain amount of commissary, money, or personal favors reached specific individuals. Combs did not scream or resist, believing the situation could worsen. He waited until the men left and the door relatched. He quietly contacted his longtime friend by phone and described what had happened. That chain of communication, the incident reached his lawyer and later the press. It's alleged that officers conducted a search of the tier and recovered a sharpened instrument, which means absolutely nothing, because if you don't have a knife or a blade or some type of weapon in jail or prison, you're slipping. An incident report was filed, listing the assailant as unidentified. No visible injuries were recorded. Internally, staff categorized the matter as threat and intimidation, consistent with Finney's later public description. No disciplinary hearing results have been made public, and the Bureau of Prison has declined comment. Yet, sources disagree on the motive. Some describe it as retaliation for speaking out about extortion. Others call it a continuation of the same extortion, designed to remind Combs of what would happen if he failed to comply. Investigators also explored whether the relationship that Combs had with a certain inmate was pressure or was part of it. As in, are they watching him open the door, or somehow he's able to get that cell door open? They know what's going on. It's called inmate.com. Or is the inmate running down there saying, look, I could get y'all in there, whatever it is. It could be mixed with drugs, money, you never know. I mean, most cells can be opened with a flat mirror. It's a known fact. Or there's always somebody that can get access to certain cells, whether through money, dope, drugs, whatever he's running, and we call them the key holder. And they could have put pressure on him, or maybe he's a drug addict, or maybe he just been part of the play the whole time, and he got access to the cell. According to correctional sources, this is unverified, after Combs told his lawyer to raise extortion concerns, inmates used the person he had befriended, a porter, with tier access to open his protective custody cell. 2 others entered, pressed a weapon to his throat, demanded commissary favors of money. Combs stayed silent, did not tell anybody, and relayed the message through his friend and attorney. Yet he's still begging to get a transfer to a safer facility, FCI for addicts in New Jersey. Finney continued speaking in public, saying Combs was trying to stay calm and keep family members from panic, but remained under constant threat. Finney added, the inmate snuck into Diddy's cell, placed a blade against his throat. He wasn't sure if Diddy fought him off or if the guards intervened in time. He believes that the attack might have been carried out as a warning because that inmate had the opportunity to harm Sean Diddy, and he didn't. If this guy had wanted to harm him, Sean would have been harmed. It would have only taken seconds to cut his throat with a weapon and kill him. It was probably a way to say, next time you ain't gonna be so lucky. Everything is intimidation. But Sean, it won't work. Sean is from Harlem. Shout out to Harlem, but I don't think that you can really use that pertaining to Diddy. The man is begging in his protective custody cell about this type of shit to you. They're saying you got, a boyfriend in there, he set you up, you're begging your lawyer to get you transferred, and this guy's saying he ain't going for it? Come on, man. First, I thought this might be a play to get him transferred, but it's not. He has a relationship going on. People peep what's going on because he's probably yelling through that door, acting tough as a cell warrior. Because just the other day, he was scared and was eating potato chips through a bag. Remember that one? Now he's representing a city that doesn't represent him. Life's funny like that, right? All you did to all those people, put them through, extort them. You kicked a woman when she was down, scaring everybody, trying to blackmail people, ruin their careers. And look at you now. It's happening to you. Except there's no cars to drive away. There's no media to try to change the scenario. At first, I thought maybe he was using this to get a transfer on the first one. Nah, this is who he is, and this is how he'll live wherever he goes. Hey, what goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. Stay out. Stay free. Us.